everyone, and welcome to today's video. I start this video with a very nice view of my pancakes. As you saw in the title, it's a day in the life. I decided to do this on a weekend, and this was my breakfast. Honestly, I wish every day started like that, but not quite. After breakfast, I took my dog out, which I don't actually have any footage of, and then I just gave her some attention. I have this on. I wanted to take advantage and explain to you a bit of what's going to happen in the video. Although it's a day in the life, it's a day in the life painting basically, and the painting that I worked on this day, I actually started previously, so what you'll see now is footage of the week prior where I started working on this painting. I actually did this because I want to make these signs for my wedding, and I wanted to try painting with watercolors on canvases, and I bought a primer that's specific for watercolor. I can link it down below, or if you're curious, just ask me. But yeah, I bought a primer and I primed this canvas the weekend before, and I started the painting. So what you're seeing now is footage of the weekend prior. The canvas was already primed at this point, and I was just trying out to see what watercolors I want. It's important for me to keep to the color scheme of the wedding, so I was just trying out different colors I had and seeing what I could use for this. The watercolors I used were my Schminker ones, which I got for Christmas, so I'm not that used to them either. But I thought if I'm going to try something new, I'll throw myself in the deep end. So as you can see, these are the colors I swatched out. For the color scheme itself, I want to use light pinks, light blues, and sort of like purple and white. So that's what I was trying to search for in this palette to see which colors would be more appropriate for this. Obviously, I have other palettes that I could have gone to, but I decided not to just yet, and I really like the colors that I end up choosing, and I'm quite happy with the ending of the painting. Going into this, I actually didn't know exactly what I was going to paint. I wanted to do something that was simple and easy enough that I could not draw beforehand really, or at least not much. I wanted just to keep it simple enough that I could focus on the color scheme, the painting, and also that could be adjusted to fit anything later. This is not going to be one of the main signs, but I thought if it comes out nice, I could, use it somehow, just so that it didn't go to waste. I will not be doing any of the writing in these signs. I can paint, I cannot write to save my life. Calligraphy is not one of the skills I have, and I don't think it ever will, but never say never. So I'll probably be using some stencils for that part of it. So to begin with, for the painting, I just go in with my big brush and wet the canvas a bit. I don't know if this is the right way to do it or not, but I just wanted to make sure that it was wet enough for the paint to run. The only thing I will say is that if you wet the canvas, it'll take long to dry. The more you wet it, the longer it takes to dry, and it takes longer to dry than paper. So the day that I did this, I had to let it dry I think I left it to dry for a day just to be safe, because I didn't want the layer underneath to be too wet when applying another layer. I know it would reactivate anyway, but I wanted to see what it looked like. So this first layer was quite thin. I didn't put too much paint. I just wanted to get the colors down onto the background, just so to have an idea of what it would look like, see how it worked. The one thing I will say is that the canvas I bought is a cheap canvas, so I don't know if the material lifting had to do with the fact that I might not have applied as much primer as I should, or if it's because of the cheap quality of the canvas. Aside from at this stage though, I didn't notice this being a problem. Once I'd completed the background, painting the actual painting above it and doing the drawing process, it wasn't an issue. And at the end, it's actually, to me at least, it's not noticeable. but I did notice it when I was doing the background and I was a bit concerned. I suppose if you were to do a very abstract drawing where it's just a bunch of colors as a sort of background, then you might want to invest in a better canvas and maybe make sure you've primed it properly. I did do 2 layers of primer, but I did 2 very thin layers. I followed a video on YouTube and did it. If I do it again, which I will make sure to film the process of priming it. I didn't want to do it this time around because honestly it was my first time and it's likely that I haven't done it right, so I don't want anyone taking example by what I do. So at this stage I'd done the first layer of the background more or less. I just make a bit of an adjustment to the colors, but actually even though it's quite light, it was the colors I wanted. I didn't want a very cryptic background or anything. I wanted something simple. I just wanted to get the basic colors down. But when this dried, it was very, very light, so I had to do another layer. So the footage you're seeing now is actually after doing a second layer to the background, because the first layer had dried very, very, very light, so I had to go in and do another one. Honestly, I really like how the background actually turned out. I like that it's a bit textured and I love the colors. On camera it looks a bit different to in person, and with the white light it actually lightens the colors a bit more, but I really am happy with how the background turned out. This part was a bit nerve-wracking to just go in and sort of with paint and no drawing just try and do the painting itself. I based my drawing or my painting on a few references off of Pinterest. I won't spoil it yet, but basically it's these lanterns. I just got a bunch of different ones and I wanted it to look like it's dropping down, sort of like they're hanging on something. I'm quite happy with how that turned out. I think that I did alright in the painting process. I went in with different colors based on what I wanted the objects to be painted as. I didn't have a clear idea. I didn't plan this beforehand. The only thing I planned was the drawing itself. I did draw it on paper first just to have an idea on how I wanted them to drop and how busy I wanted it to be. But I ended up going in and doing it a bit different anyway. So the colors themselves were not planned on each thing. I just based it more or less on the photos themselves. Like the ones which you see in yellow were sort of brown color, and then I wanted some blues and pinks in there, so I just worked off of the top of my head. Really, this wasn't meant to be a nice finished piece. This was just meant to be a test for the watercolors on the canvas, and it actually turned out to be both. For me at least, I am happy with how it turned out, especially for a first attempt. So most of it was just this sort of slow, tedious process of putting in the colors, giving the painting some sort of shape. A lot of it was adjusting also because when I'd drawn the lines, it didn't really look right. The angles didn't look right. So when I went in with paint, I tried to correct anything that I thought was off as best as I could. And I just put in the colors, seeing what colors were for what, because like I said, I didn't plan any of this out. So it was just a matter of going in with no idea and seeing what came out. It was quite enjoyable not to have an idea for once, and I'm quite happy that this is something that is my own. It's not really from reference. I mean, I got a few photos of lanterns, but I knew what I wanted to come out of this canvas or this painting, and I was aiming for that image in my head, which is quite different from drawing from reference, which is what I often do, or even if it's just my own photos. But yeah, this part was quite fun, and this was done the week before the Saturday that this video is based on. And now we come on to the actual Saturday footage, which is the day that I finished this painting. I had done this overnight, I'd more or less, I mean, it does look a lot more finished than on the last video you saw, but I basically went in and put down the colors the night before and left it at a stage where I could finish it on Saturday. I just wanted to add in highlights at this point. I wanted to add in a bit more color, brighten it up a bit, and just do the finishing touches that I wanted to. I haven't explained this, but the part on the right is white because that's where any writing that I want will go. So the design was only supposed to be on this left side. These little flowers in the pots took me a lot longer than I thought they would because I had to go in with a lot of layers, adding in darker colors and then highlights and then highlighting them again because obviously the white would, even though it looks very bright at the beginning here, it would fade away. So I had to go in quite a few times in order to give it the look that I wanted. I had a lot of fun with this, even though it is kind of a tedious process. I find that sometimes I like doing these tedious parts of things. These watercolors are not my best watercolors. I don't know. I've only sort of heard about the light fastness, etc. I don't really look at it when buying my art supplies, but I'm not sure if this would be a student grade Derwent palette or not. I'd have to look at it. I do know that I love them. I really love using these. They feel really creamy. They actually feel a lot different to my other watercolors. I'd say my other watercolors are more watery, and I really love how bright some of these colors are. And it did help me give the finishing touch that I wanted to some of these details, so that was it was a good choice to use them. I'm not sure if I'll be using them for the wedding signs themselves. I think for that I would probably check how good the actual paint is, just to make sure that it wouldn't fade too much if it was out for a long time, etc., as I would like to keep them, or at least some of them, probably long term. Although I didn't film it, adding in the sort of lines where the lamps are hanging from, that went horribly wrong the first time. I went in freehand and I cannot do a straight line to save my life. So I actually had to bring in a ruler in order to keep them more or less straight and presentable. I will say I am quite happy with how, at this stage I was quite happy with how it was ending up. Probably a lot more positive than the day before when I'd started in on the main colours. I I don't have much more to say with this painting. I will say that it gave me a good base knowledge to do my other paintings with. I know a few do's and don'ts. I don't think that when I do the actual paintings I'll be running the risk of not drawing anything. For this one it was okay. But I think for the actual ones I'll want to at least have, even if I do it on a paper and then I lightly trace it on top of the canvas, I think I'd much rather go in with that because I don't want to risk the shapes being off or the actual image being not off center or off of the part where I want it to. So I think I have learned that that will be something that I will do. Another thing I learned from doing this is that I will definitely give the canvas a few more coats. I might have mentioned this already, but I just think that once I do the big ones, I'll play it safe. This go absorbent ground for watercolors is quite expensive though, so I'm not sure if I might buy a bigger one just to be safe because I have 4 canvases. I think I have 4. So that is a lot of ground I'm gonna need if they each require quite a few layers. But I'm guessing I might do one and then see how it turns out and move from there. So this was the finished painting. I'm really happy with it. The video is not that good, but I did really like how it came out. I loved the colors and I think I'll be sticking to that. After this on Saturday, I just had a snack and then we went off actually. we went over to Spain to see our wedding venue, and this is some of the video I took when I was there. We were just basically shown around again, and we made some decisions of where we want everything to go. It was nice seeing it in another season. When we first went, it was actually summer, so it was a lot nicer, but it was nice to see how it looked even in winter. It was beautiful in both. Once I came home, I just studied, and I have to do this daily, so this is actually something that is part of my daily routine. And then I studied for around an hour, I think, and then I got on to doing some drawing on my iPad. What I worked on was actually, well, this was supposed to be my save the date card, but in the end I decided to change the design to something a lot more simple. I still use this, but it's not my final design. I don't really have a lot to say about it, but you will see how it progresses in the video. I think I'll just put music now and let you enjoy this footage. I usually don't put any footage of me drawing on my iPad because I personally don't think it's that interesting. But to give this video true content of what I would do in a day, yes, I did spend my evening just drawing on my iPad and working on my save the date cards. I hope you enjoy the rest of the video, and I hope you like the design. I'm actually quite happy with it. I'm happy that I got to integrate a bit of illustration into it, as well as giving it a finishing design that I was happy with. Let me know if you like it, let me know if you like the painting, and also just let me know if you have any advice on painting on canvas with watercolor. I'd love to hear it since I have zero experience in it, so whatever information you give me will probably be more helpful than what I know. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps. I know I always say this. I know everyone always says this, and you're probably sick of hearing it. But if you don't mind just clicking those 2 buttons for me, I'd really appreciate the support. Thank you.
Seems to circle the other. As you go, you remain a stranger to me, to you. But our pieces left uncovered. I'm thinking about 4-leaf clovers. I've got composure, silver coin. You hold me, turn me over right now, but expect to forget about it. Watch as the breeze burns golden smoke that you've stolen. Feels like it's my fortune that you're folding. I'm swimming with the sharks. I'm swimming with the sharks. I can't tell you apart from them. You can't tell either. Will we love or fall in deeper? Tell me, darling, what is it you want?
I know I said my goodbyes, but I just wanted to pop in and say thank you for watching till the very end. If you did watch till the very end, comment below my dog's name if you know it. If not, ask me and I'll let you know what it is. It's just a fun sort of thing to see who actually got this far. I don't think I would have gotten this far because I usually just enjoy the parts with voiceovers and maybe skip the rest. So, but yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked the video.